Well, welcome back YouTube. It is time for another video. The last video I released was on February the 2nd, and it is now April 27th. It has been 12 weeks to the day since I released my last video. This is actually, to the day, the 2-year anniversary of when I pulled this bus behind me into my driveway and have been working on it every single day since that day. So the whole point to this video is to do a 2-year anniversary walk around, as though no one has ever seen any of my videos previously, so that they can have basically a tour video that covers everything in one video. I intend to show you what it looked like here the day that I brought it in, what it looked like here 1 month later when I was stripping it out, a month later when I was finished with all the inside prep and ready to start building, and then finally show you what it looks like today. So with that said, let's start a tour video and see what 2 years worth of work and 12 weeks worth of progress has done for me on this bus. This is Marv talking to you about Marv. So let's get after it. That's the hallway. Covers the shower, the vanity room, and my 12 and 24 volt equipment cabinets. Now it's time to move into the kitchen, and let me show you what I got going on here. So first thing I want to show you is that I've got my monitoring system set up here. This is my EMS for the 24 volt side, so when I put shore power on, this illuminates and tells me that everything is okay with my shore power coming in from my 24 volt system. Battery monitor, a Redodo battery monitor, which came with the batteries for the 400 amp hour 24 volt system that I have there. This is the control panel for my hot water heater. As you can see, I can hit the button and it says that my the water temperature inside my hot water heater is 68 degrees. I can control the temperature of the water up or down here, and whether it reads centigrade or Fahrenheit. Sorry, but I'm not a C kind of guy, so I'll keep it on Fahrenheit. This is my tank monitoring system. Right now, the only thing that it monitors is my fresh water tanks, because that's all that's installed. I've got to get my gray water tanks in. I had to do some creative engineering to actually get it to monitor both of my tanks. So freshwater tank says my freshwater tank is at 39%. That's on this side of the bus. And then if I go to galley, the one on that side is 43%. When I do my gray, I hit gray. As you can see, it says open because it's not installed. But by the way that I've configured the senders, I hit gray and I get one side, I hit black, I get the other side. It monitors my battery voltage as well. So I'm theoretically sitting at 12.9 volts. That's not completely accurate, but at least not based on my Redodo and Victron equipment. It says that I'm actually at 13.2. So, but it monitors my battery voltage as well. This switch is the on-off switch for my pump for my water. I leave it on all the time because once I bring something online, I leave it online so that I can test, use, monitor, or whatever the case may be, and make sure that I don't have any issues. This is the remote for my front mini split. That one back there is the remote for my rear mini split. I've got my rear mini split set on 68, and that's blowing cold air up the alleyway here to help keep my equipment cool. I've got my front mini split up there set at 74 because it's up there and it's not as critical. So on this side I have a Redodo monitor that monitors my entire battery bank and composition, and as you can see I've got 804 amp hours at 99%. This one monitors the battery bank that is actually in that closet in and of itself. I have my EMS here. This is a three-way switch that controls the power for the lights in my hallway. If I turn it off, you can see they go off and they go on. This right here is a remote control for my diesel heater. So that covers all of the monitoring aspects of what I have here inside the kitchen. The next thing that I want to show you is that I've got my upper cabinets in. They go across here. I've got a whole video on those and how I did that. I've got my strip lights that light up the inside. I can change colors, I can change modes, I can change everything through a remote control. Using this door, I'll show you that I've got these RV struts to keep the doors open, and they keep them closed. They're not going to open up while I'm going down the road, so that's a good thing. Coming over here, same thing on this side. I got a door right here and I got a door right here. I've left this open because the microwave hood right here actually vents through here, so I left that open so that could vent. This is my internal Wi-Fi access point. It serves a couple of purposes. Number one, I have all of my internal infrastructure components on a single Wi-Fi network on this thing, so that I have exclusive access to all my internal infrastructure. It also provides me a guest network on the inside of here for anything that cannot connect through a wired connection. I can connect to this and through that guest network and actually have internet for those devices. I put laminate countertops on the counter. This is my propane stove. It is a 3-burner stove. Works great. As a matter of fact, just in case you were wondering, it does work. I've got fire. So propane works, everything lights up, everything is good. It comes from the tanks that I showed you earlier outside. I added these little light fixtures right here. This one is rechargeable. This one over here is rechargeable, and then I've got some other ones I'll show you that they're actually solar, so I put them outside and they charge off the sun. A couple of things that I need to install that I have in here. My daughter gave me these for the bus. I need to install those. This holds bags. This holds foil, plastic wrap, and wax wrap. Whatever I want to put in there, I can put it in there. I need to mount them up. One of the other things that I want to show you is that I actually have light switches for everything. So this one actually controls my LED light strips. This one controls my under cabinet lighting, and I've got a light there and I've got a light there. Turn that off. This controls my overhead lights. The other thing that I want to point out is that all my overhead lights are independently controlled, so I can turn them on and off. I can dim them. I can change the color, all independently of each other. That switch is only to put power to the light so that I can control what it does once it has power. Come over here, same thing over here. Change the color, change the brightness, dimness, whatever, and that's how it works. It works the same way on both sides, by the way, guys. These are actually running off of 24 volts. Beautiful things about these lights is that they're 12 or 24 volt lights. So I was able to actually run them off of my 24 volt DC distribution as opposed to the 12 volt and having to run wires back and forth. I've got switches here. So I've got my overhead lights here. I've got my under cabinet lights here, and then I've got my strip lights here. On both sides I have a network connection that provides a direct wire connection into my network. Got one over here, direct wire connection in my network. I also have if I can figure out, I always have problems with this, but I also have USB chargers that provide USB 3 and mini and I'm sorry, USB A or B or whatever it is, and then USB-C. So I can charge any device off of those. I got one on that side, and then I've got one on this side. It's the same thing, USB and USB. So my kitchen sink, I love this thing. This is probably the crowning achievement of my kitchen. This corner sink is not obtrusive, but yet it is still a corner sink. It was a pain in the you know what I'm saying, to get it installed and get everything cut out. One of the other things I do want to point out is that this sink does not have any underside mounting points. It is held in place by gravity. So one of the things that I did when I did actually install it is I loaded up the underside of this lip with silicone, and then I used clamps from the sink to the ceiling and clamped it down. There's actually a video that shows how I did that, just to make sure that it wasn't going to go anywhere. And then this is my faucet. So this is actually really nice because I have this handle that provides water, and you can hear my pump kicking on. Then I have this handle. This is actually an output from my reverse osmosis system, so this is filtered water. All the water in my bus is filtered, by the way. And then this is actually the control that turns the water on and off. As you can see, I've got it off right now so nothing comes out. Turn it on, the water comes out. Turn this on, RO water. So really love it. And then I've got this one as well, provides water. It's like a regular faucet as opposed to the shower head. So that's my water. Let me pop this. That's my drain. This actually drains out. I don't have my gray tanks in, so that's just running onto the ground out behind the bus. But that is one of my next projects, is to get my gray tanks in. I added this rack right here. This is a more or less a rag rack, so that when you do dishes or whatever, you just drape them over here and they drip dry into the sink. I've got a paper towel holder here and a little shelf for dishwashing liquid, cleaning stuff, whatever the case may be. Put that right there. I've got my under cabinet lighting. You can see I've got a light there, I got a light there, and I got a light there. I did have to raise this section of the cabinet up to provide clearance for my faucet. Not something that I planned on, but it's something that I had to do. From the outside, if you remember earlier, I showed you my RV window for the kitchen. This is it right here. It comes in, lines up perfectly with the cabinet, and provides me lighting and just ambiance and being able to see outside. It's as high as I can make it, but it is kind of low considering the angle of attack. But for the most part, all you're going to see is the ground unless you scoop down, and then you can look outside and see what's going on out in the wilderness. But that's this side of the kitchen. This is this side of the kitchen. A couple other things that I want to show you is, so if I open up this cabinet right here, This is the heart of my water distribution system. I have all of the inputs that I showed you earlier from the outside. I have a water filtration system right here, and I have the ability to turn on and off any specific component of this in any way, shape, or form that I desire, so that I can do maintenance, whatever the case may be, and isolate water flow through any specific component. For instance, if I need to change a filter, I turn this valve and I turn this valve. There's no water flowing through this, I can change the filter. If I need water while I'm doing that, I open up this valve and it bypasses the filter and I still have water. This is actually a purge line. I turn this valve on and it will actually purge anything that's coming out of the filter system. The other thing that I have is I have a valve back here that shuts off the hot water that goes to the back to my shower. This is the cold water side. I can shut that off. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get a better angle on it. But this valve right here will shut off the cold water to my shower in the back as well, so that if I have to do anything back there. This is the pressure input that I was telling you about, and I have a check valve, so water can come through here and into my system, but it can't go the other way. When water is coming through here, it hits this check valve. Can't go this way. If the pump is on or whatever, the water can go this way. I put a pressure gauge onto my water system so I could monitor the pressure of my water system. As you can see right now, it's sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of 50, and that's because I was just running everything. Normally it's up at 60. My pump is running off of a relay. I've got a couple of other another relay in here, and this relay runs the other pump that I have, and I'll have to show you that and show you why I have that in there. But there are the cinders for my water tank. I haven't filled them up in a while, and I've been testing and running. I run everything constantly just to make sure I don't have any issues or anything, so that's why the water levels are so low. This is the EMS for my 12-volt system. Tells me what's going on with my energy system or electrical system when it's coming into the bus from shore power, so if there's any issues, I know what's going on with that. This right here is actually a heater. I've got it set up on a thermostat. If the temperature inside of here gets too low, this actually energizes, which is what this other relay is for right here. And the temperature gauge for it is actually right there. So if that gets below 40 degrees, if that senses a temperature below 40 degrees, this little heater will kick on and blow hot air into this area to at least keep it above 40 degrees so that nothing freezes. I've got the exact same thing on the other side on the water distribution system over there. So that's pretty much the water distro in a nutshell. One of the things that I do want to show you is that this valve right here is actually a valve that if I turn it on, it provides water to a valve that I have outside. And if I turn the faucets on and turn that all on, I can drain all the water out of this entire system and make everything bone dry in a matter of, you know, however long it takes to drain, assuming everything is full, 84 gallons of water. But I have it set up. I have the water being pulled from the bottom here, goes down into the bottom. The pump feeds into there and pulls water out of that right here. So it goes down into the bottom, pulls water up through the pump, pressurizes it into the accumulator tank, and then sends it out to the rest of the system. Pressurized water is the same way. Both of those tanks, this side and the other side, are tied together, so they're always balanced, pretty much. I think the difference in the percentage is based on where I have the actual cinder set as opposed to not being level. This bus is level, so that water level should be level and reading the same as well. But anyway, this is the water distribution system on this side. If I come over to the other side, I open up this cabinet door. Turn on this light. Let me get this trash can out of the way. You can see what I have over here. There is my reverse osmosis system. I've got a UV filter on top. There's the ballast for the UV system. That little item that's plugged into that plug, that round one, is the actual access point for my leak detection system that I have deployed throughout the bus. Drain for my sink. This green tank right here is actually a collection point for the RO system for all the wastewater, because this thing wastes a lot of water. So what I've done is I've actually routed the wastewater into here. When this thing gets full, I can turn some valves. It's very difficult to see back there, but I can turn some valves, and then it will redirect the output of the water down the drain and into the gray tanks. The idea behind this is that I can collect the wastewater from the reverse osmosis and use this to clean, etc. If I get in a pinch, I can actually dump that back into the tanks and let it filter again and let it do its thing. There's one of my leak detection sensors that you see right there underneath my filters. I've got those scattered throughout the bus. There's another one underneath the water tank. That's the accumulator tank for my RO system. It's quite complex, but it's simple as well. So that's a water distribution system in a nutshell. Alright, so in my last video on February the 2nd, you saw me putting in the vinyl plank flooring in the kitchen area, which is the vinyl plank flooring from the edge of the refrigerator back to that threshold that you see in the floor right there. As soon as I finished that, I went into overdrive and tried to get all of the other vinyl plank flooring that I needed from this point forward. And the other thing that I did, if you notice, I've got vinyl plank flooring right here in the hallway in front of my equipment cabinet. My original intent and what I had in mind was to use this boat deck flooring in the hallway all the way through. And after considering it and thinking about it, I decided I didn't want to do that. It wasn't necessary. The real place that I need waterproof flooring is in front of the shower, so I limited the waterproof flooring to that area in front of the shower, and I continued my vinyl plank flooring through the hallway in front of the equipment cabinets. I stopped it at the edge of the shower here, and I stopped it at the edge of the shower back there. But after that, I went through and actually started doing the vinyl plank flooring through to the front of the bus. So all of the vinyl plank flooring that I have installed is installed from front to back. By the way, up here in front of the refrigerator forward, it runs wall to wall. I did all of the vinyl plank flooring wall to wall all the way forward, and then built on top of that with all the other stuff that I'm about to show you. One of the other things that I did, and I just recently finished this a couple of days ago, was added the vinyl plank flooring back here in the bedroom office area. I added the aluminum strips there. It's actually a 90-degree angle to protect the vinyl and cover up the raised edges. I've got one back there at the door as well. So I added those, but vinyl plank flooring, wall to wall, all the way under. This is the garage area, and there's vinyl plank flooring under there as well. So coming back forward here, now that we've talked about the floor, as you can see, I've got my cabinets. This is my microwave. I've got drawers underneath the microwave for storage. I've got drawers over here for storage. Right now I'm using them for build materials and components and stuff. Sooner or later I'll be taking all that out as I finish. The other thing that I wanted to show you here is that I've got this little storage cubby here on the back of the door. I put some stuff in here that I'm using for cleaning. This is my hot water heater right here. One of the challenges that I have with my hot water heater, because of all the complexity of all the other components that I have in my water system, is that I was not getting the flow rate that I needed through my water heater for it to actually work. So what I did was I added a smaller pump and smaller accumulator system up here that is mounted to the roof of this. And that solved that problem. Now my water heater works, so when I turn on the hot water, this thing kicks on. It pumps the water through the hot water heater at the right rate so that I have hot water. Wasn't expecting that, wasn't planning on that, but it was a necessity. It was the only thing that I could come up with to more or less allow me to use hot water. I love my stove. It is a 3-burner propane stove. Got a fairly decent sized oven. It will provide more than enough room for anything that I want to do. Probably one of the biggest things that I ever cook in an oven is lasagna, and it's more than big enough for the pans and everything that I need to do that. So we'll figure out how that works. If you remember, on the outside I showed you the porthole window. There it is right there. It's right over the stove. One of the things that I do want to point out is directly behind this stove and the hot water heater in this section right here was that center door emergency exit that I had to delete. So right behind this is where that is. The hot water heater on the outside is mounted in the bottom half of the door. It's still on the hinge, but it's all secured so that it doesn't move. Everything's riveted and screwed down. Top half is covered with sheet metal, and then through that sheet metal goes that port window. So that's the kitchen area in a nutshell. So let's look at what we've got going on, and let's talk about the living room.